So the functional measurements for ARVC, functional measurement really is any subjective assessment of ball motion. We can also do a fractional area change, a bit like an injection fraction, but it's a bit more challenging. So I'm just going to show you taxi and how much echo have you done? Have you ever done echo? Oh, okay. So we'll take that. And then what you're going to do, if you hold that there, you put a cursor through this area, and watch the movement of that. And this is longitudinal movement of the ventricle. Now the longitudinal movement of that ventricle relates to its overall function. And if you think about the right ventricle, it's predominantly shortened in that longitudinal aspect, so it goes down like that. With less squeezing and more kind of longitudinal movement. So taxi is really easy. It's a movement of the annulus as it moves up. And you see the ventricle, although it squeezes in, it also shortens upwards, and that is a predominant functional aspect for the right side. So if we freeze up there, we can put a caliper on, and we start at the baseline here, we follow the fastest up slope, and we take it to where the brightest bit is, and that's 18, which is absolutely fine.
Are we measuring the annulus?
It's annulus. So that's an important bit, is that the right ventricle has this predominant longitudinal function. So in pathology it changes a little bit, but in the healthy people, that movement from the base to the apex is a predominant drive of ejection. And therefore, if you put the line through the annulus of the right area, that movement correlates very well with its overall output. I will say that when you see certain diseases, it changes. It's not sensitive things like that. Okay, so if we unfreeze up there, and I'm going to do a chronic tissue Doppler as well. Same principle applies. But now instead of looking at displacement, we're now looking at velocity. And what's great about this technique is not only do you get systole, which is a systolic velocity as that wall moves up, but also diastole as well. So you get the E and the A. So you get the early passive filling and then the atrial kick. So if we caliper here, we measure the velocities of 14, 16, and 11. And yes, we do have normal data for all this stuff, particularly in athlete populations as well as in normal sedentary populations. But again, there's lots to do in terms of thinking about the athlete. Because different athletes do different things, different sports, and sport discipline causes slightly different changes to the athlete. So if they're more resistance-based athletes, you don't often get the if they're endurance athletes. Cool. Should we come to have a go at start back at the beginning? So practicing to try and get that sort of over. So you've done echo because you sound like you know what you're talking about. Okay, firestone. Let's do firestone or non-axis. And I'll get the alveolar T-plates. Okay, some optimization of the units are very nice, but will be depth. Okay. Consider our gains. If we already can scan, one thing then is often about optimizing the machine. So it's making sure your blood pool is black and making sure your myocardium is mid-black. That's good. So what we're interested is this. When you put it out, you're going to list the measurement. Now you just see here, you're just doing the practice. If you tilt down, so tilt down,
Sorry guys, maybe another 5 minutes between these shoots.
Yeah, perfect. You want wide as possible.
So it takes a little bit clockwise. That's good. Yeah, I'll go ahead. That's quite nice. So you can see if we take that measurement. See if we can cut it back. And you can see there's already a little bit of inherent variability because I measured 26, you measured 28, I think you measured 24. And this is important because those small millimetres make a lot of difference. And it's about getting that cut absolutely spot on, making sure the orientation is absolutely spot on, making sure you're doing it as you asked it, making sure you measure it in the right place. This is into observer variability, and echo is quite high into observer variability. Okay, do you want to do a short answers?
One thing we haven't done
Very good. Fantastic.
Okay, that is interesting.
That. Very good. So if we're going to do having a TV, now Z2, I can't see this valve here, right? So one way of optimizing the image there is just to and if you freeze up there, you can see this valve. So RVOT1, RVOT2 and RVOT plaques. Now I fully recommend you look through the guidelines that we've given you, but also look for the references in the back of those guidelines, because those references do tell you about where the measurement should be made. Are you coming to the conference tomorrow as well? Because I talk a little bit more about that. Last one. Let's get this apex. Show me what you can do, because we can scan his vertices. Ah, right, okay. Oh, yeah, emergency. Oh, cracking. Yeah, I teach the emergency stuff as well. Yeah. So you're right down here straight away. Let's go for a big kind of fusion. Yeah, I'll keep that thing. So that is, in those environments, is really important. But when you've got time, that's important to leave the time. Okay, so you're the wrong way around. Oh, for the RV. So the thing about this, and this is what I see all the time with people do scan a little bit, who don't do much in terms of optimization. Is that the septum runs across here, which is great for you because you can say, okay, well the LV is doing this. But if you want to do tamponade, you want to see LV plaques, yeah? So if you took that and you fortunate that you'd see a pericardial fusion around here, and you'd see collapse of the RV down. So we keep it further down. Yeah. RVD1, D2, D3, I think we're come round. So just take it as I have. Yeah, so attempt to take the length here. It's actually too late. If you think about the RV, Again, that's a big difference to the latter. And I'll tell you why. A little bit further into the electric ventilation. We have the roots, I'll show you a little thing about what we have before showing. If you just so, if we're up here, right? Science. What?
Right, okay guys, so we've got to take
Okay, and measure this here.
Thank you very much guys.
Any length from here to here. In the 74. If I move down a bit to this, if you measure it, right, I'm fully on the apex there. Not as clear, but look at the length of the first. If I now measure it from the apex.
Yes, no, exactly. Well, no, you can make the impressions very easy.
Yeah. Okay, so it literally is 2 centimetres difference, and that's because I'm truly on the apex. And this is very relevant to the left side as well. So when you're doing things like Simpsons, you're doing ejection fraction, if you're too high up, you're going to underestimate the moves. So you're going to make it smaller. So what we call that foreshortening. Just being very careful to try and get a nice clear length, but making sure you're as far down as you can be. Yeah, I'll do it all the time. All the time, getting them to breathe in, breathe out, and the best image you can based on their respiratory side. Because you may put the transducer on and you get nothing, and the image isn't there. You just in terms of the lungs and it turns up.
Dave, stop talking.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You guys are going around the next one, aren't you? Yeah. Okay, guys. Right. Who's got on this side there? You guys? Yeah. Okay. All right. So you guys have done ECGs before? Anyone done an ECG? Many times.
Long time ago.
Yeah, right. No, I'm right then. Okay.
Usually we are not doing by ourselves.
Yeah.
There's some assistance.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's the whole point. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm some cardiologist.
Yeah.
I'm doing ECG myself. So that's the whole point. You know, so we have to get it right. And also, the best way to teach people is to learn it yourself first. Right. So if you want to just put these on first. Yeah. So you've got these here. Okay, we've been using them. We're going to be using them again. So what we want to do is put them in bony prominences. Yeah. So again, so the attitude that he's taken. Don't twist him in some position because otherwise his muscles will be tense. So he's chosen to go like that. That's fine. Okay, good. And again down here, just a bony prominence. Anywhere along here is absolutely fine. Okay. What I would recommend is going upwards. Okay. No, just the actual angle, sort of pointing upwards. So when the lead goes down, otherwise you don't want to go down at an angle. Yeah. The same for that one as well. So that's going upwards. Bony prominences. Okay, that's fine. Now for this one here, take your left hand, or stand on this side. Take your left hand. Okay. And fine, going under the clavicle here, just off the sternum, you put your little finger in there, and you've got the first rib space. When you go next to it, you find the second rib space. When you go next to it, you find the third rib space, and you've got the fourth rib space. And what you then find, you put that either side of the sternum here, and what you then find is actually, you're a lot lower than you think. When you look at people doing them, they often put them here in the second, because they just stick them on.
Yeah.
But it's not. You've got to get it correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Sometimes you can't feel the spaces very well, but you can definitely feel the ribs and just roll your finger off the rib, then there's a space next to it. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Just get rid of those marks so you can find it yourself. Okay? So little finger in the first one. That's it. And roll off the rib onto the next one. There we are. That's it. Yeah? The wider than you think. Yeah, that's it. That's 4. And that's the one there, going downwards. Yeah? So straight downwards. Perfect. Okay? Alright? And then just off the centre. Don't go too far away. Okay? just either side, yeah? Three. It's actually lower. Yeah? It's 1, 2, 3, 4 is actually there, yeah? So you're actually 3.5, it's actually lower, actually in the space between them. Right, I'm going here. 1, 2, on the rib there, roll 3, with the 4th is actually there. Yeah? Just try your fingers again. It's really important. Put it on and roll your finger onto the next space. It's lower, they're wider than you think, the ribs, and it's lower than you think. There we are. Now you can feel it, yeah? It's really important. People often go too high. Partial right bundle, T-wave inversion, left atrial enlargement, P-wave inversion of V1, all because the leads are too high. You're looking at it going, it's group 2 changes. They're not group 2, it's group 1. Okay. Yeah, so that one you can basically just follow the same one like that, yeah? And again, probably a little bit wide. I'd just say just come a little bit tighter together, but so only just off, but there's only millimetres in that. That's the correct position. Okay, V1, V2. All right? The next one, you take mid-clavicular, okay? For that, I put my hand like that. It's the same one I'm doing pacemakers. Put the thumb in there, in the notch, that here, and then your forefinger is in the middle. Okay, so it's like that. So you know that will be the mid-clavicular line there. The clavicle is not there. The clavicle, as you know, goes all the way out there, doesn't it? Yeah? Yeah. It's the acromion. It's actually longer than you think again. So we know that's halfway, so it's just inside there, and then we drop 1 rib space. You can see it's about 1 rib space just to come in there. So do it yourself. Okay, put your forefinger down the middle, and use your forefinger so halfway between the two. Yeah, there it is, yeah. And just follow it straight down, lovely. Okay, and it's just 1 rib space beneath. You often can't feel the rib very well, but you know it's 1 rib space beneath. And that's perfect. Okay, so that's 4. Number 3 is exactly between. This is the only time you actually look for measurements of what you eyeball. This is the only one, okay? Great. Now, here, it's anti-axillary line. So you've got the anti-axillary line. Absolutely correct. Yeah? And it's along this line here. You want to follow this one round. Okay, follow this one round. That's it. Perfect. That's the anterior axillary line. The next one's the mid-axillary line, right in the armpit. And again, it's in line with this one. Okay? And again, look at the gap. There's a gap there. People don't like gaps. So people then pick them off and move them together because people don't like gaps. There's always a gap here. There's a bit of a gap here. There's always a gap here. It's not nice and neat. Do you understand, yeah? People try and make it look neat.
Yeah.
That's correct. Okay, that's fine. So bring your arm back on here. That's good. Right. Next thing, let's go and get a... things like. Now what I do is I hold it by the end here. I hold this thing at the end, lift it up. Okay. What I then do is I take... Then here you are. Here you are. That's okay. What you do then is you go to the top end, and you know that the limb leads are on the sides. So I do this bit first. You take the limb leads here. You go to the end, and you have a look. This is left, this is right. So you know what you can do is you can do this, you can put this down the middle, just go like this, drop this off the end of the bed if you want, go like this. You know that you've got, this is your left, it's going to come this side. You know this one here, your right, it's going to come this side. And then you've got these to do later. Okay? I know it sounds obvious, but you do 1,000 of them, it makes it easier. So right, is that RA on that one, yeah? Yeah, RA, that's fine, yeah. There you go. Ah, well done. So you realise there, yeah? It's all about where they're placed, and you're absolutely right that way. Now you're glad it's going upwards, aren't you? That's good, yep. Got to be careful about taking things on and off too often because it loses the stickiness. That's it. That's good. Okay. Now you're going to pull these. Make sure these aren't getting in the way. That's it. That's fine. Make sure you pull it up. Okay. Now separate these two again. So these are in threes. Okay. V1 to V3. So there's two groups here. You see that? 2 groups. See them? That's it. Yeah? Good. I tend to leave this on here, otherwise we'll pull. It's quite heavy, this, okay? So just align them, V1 to V3, 4 to 5, 6, where we got, that's it. Again, you've got this thing here, you can move this around, however you want to move it around and give it space. Now the important thing, when you put this on, you can twist it again to make sure it doesn't rotate, so that's how it goes, yeah. Good. Now, hang on, no, that's rotating. So what you want to do is you just want to rotate it like that. You rotate the bevel. You see? Sounds obvious. There, it'll hold. It's these little things that stop the things from flying off. That's good. Good. That's good. Excellent. Good. Now bring your arms back in, and now that's perfect. Now you say to him to relax. Ask him to relax his shoulders. Feng
In Chinese.
Okay? Alright? Got that. Now you go over to look at your ECG now. You want to at least have one screen, if not two screens. Make sure it's nice and flat. There, it's great, isn't it? Yeah? So once you've got one or two screens, you then hit the ECG. And that's the best one today. Yeah. Okay, now you've got that. So, important things to see. The first thing you do when you look at the ECG is make sure that you haven't got some massive axis change. So I always go to AVR and make sure it's inverted in AVR. If it's inverted in AVR, I'm pretty sure the limb leads are on the right ones.
Yeah.
Okay? You look for artifact everywhere, there's no artifact. Then you can look at the ECG later. Okay, but the important thing is, have you put it in the right position? Because you've got T-wave inversion in AVR, you've probably got it in the right position. That's what you want to know. Not often, but every now and then you get the limb leads in your haste, you put them on the wrong limbs, don't you?
Yeah.
Your right is on your left and what have you. So if that's inverted in AVR, I'm pretty confident that that is the limb leads are on the correct position. I look at the chest, I see that the chest leads are in the correct position. I'm happy to say, right, we can finish with that and we can interpret that later. Okay? Very good. Well done. Good, so let's just take all those bits off. All right, okay.
Last ECG that I've done by myself 20 years ago.
I know, but you see, it's important to get it right. There are different things there that you wouldn't have been doing correctly. Okay, so you want to take all the things off. What I would do is take everything off, okay, and then lift this thing up at the end, and then put it out on there. This is important, otherwise it will get knotted up. So just unclip everything. Yeah, you just leave it, unclip it and just leave it where it is, yeah? Just unclip it and leave it where it is, yeah? That's it. Otherwise it all gets knotted everywhere, you see? So unclip everything, and just leave everything where it is. Okay. And then you just grab this one and lift it straight up in the air. Lift it up in the air. That's it. Like, grab the whole thing together, like that, and then just lie it over the ECG.
Again, another 5 minutes.
This is important. So I know it sounds obvious, but it's so important, otherwise it will just get knotted. Okay, and then take your leads off and then you're finished. Okay. Oh, we can get rid of this one actually. We've used this about 3 times now. Just stick them all together. Yeah, only use them once, but today we used it a few times. But, you know. Your ECG is still normal, by the way. Okay. The 5th time. What's relax again? Feng Shui.
Yeah.
Feng Shui. Yeah. It's the only word I know. Feng Shui. Be brutal. No, you've ripped it off, don't you? Okay, that's good. All right, next one. Who wants to do it?
Yep. We're looking for the parasternal long axis view. Okay. It's a great thing when you've got young, fit, healthy subjects It's relatively easy to find. Okay. Now, just give me one thing that you're going to do with that image immediately. Change the depth. Look at all this stuff down here that's irrelevant. Okay, so the first thing you do is make the ventricle fill the screen. Two things that you want from your parasternal long axis view is you want your ventricle as wide as it can possibly be, and you want those walls to be parallel with each other. Now that's a pretty good image. You can see the walls, you can see the endocardial edges of the walls, and you can see that they're nicely parallel, and they're not particularly close together. They're getting quite a nice distance. So that's a pretty good image, and that's an image that you could make a measurement of. So the one thing that we did start off with was we did left ventricular dimension. So I'm just going to freeze that for you. You freeze that. Okay. Now we're having, for some reason, the ECG is not working at the moment. So you've got to visualise it on when the valve opens and closes for end diastole. So it's open. Just track through. Keep going. Stop. Okay. So that would be your end diastolic image, and then you can caliper it. So use the caliper. Okay, get up onto your septal wall. Don't worry about doing wall thickness. We're just interested in the chamber. So move to the other side of the septum. Okay, now you've measured the wall. So just go. Start again. So onto the ventricular side of the septum. That's it. Click onto that. Bring it down, perpendicular to the walls. Okay. And that's probably a little bit small, so what we've probably got there, maybe not quite got the end of diastole. It might be that the valve leaflets are still a little bit further apart. But can you see the band there? The wall thickness is there. We've got that extra band there. Now that might be a tendon or a trabeculation. In actuality, the wall edge is probably a little bit higher than that in terms of the image, but it's a good learning point. Okay?
Well done, that's good. Okay, carry on, yeah? Okay, right, next group. Okay, who's on first?
So what we'll try and do, go straight now, is let's go twist into the short axis view, so you're going to go through 90 degrees. And again, the key imaging issues here is you want this to be as circular as possible, so you're cutting straight through. If it's oval shaped like that, you're not cutting straight through the ventricle, and you want to see clear wall edges, clear endocardial definition. First area we're interested in is the base, so we're looking to get some mitral valve apparatus. So if you just hang there, just going to twist, tilt up a little bit, and then back. As soon as you start seeing the mitral valve, you know that you're roughly in the right area. Okay, the only problem we've got is we're dropping the wall a little bit down here. So you've just drifted a little bit away from the septum. That's one of the issues with gel, and you need to rotate a little bit more. Okay, there you go. Okay, so that's pretty clear, isn't it? Okay, so when you've got something like that, you freeze, and now you can trackball through, and it's always good to go backwards and forwards a little bit just to see what's happening with the walls and follow it visually. Now again, what you're doing is you're trying to get maximum filling, which is diastole. It's probably there, isn't it? Okay, and at that point you can now do your caliper wall measurements septum, inferior septum, you go through all of the different wall places. So if you want to just do a couple of those measurements and then we'll swap and get somebody else on. You can take this off now. So just do a caliper measurement on the septum. Okay. Perfect. So we've got 7 millimeters. That's a normal size. We've got a relatively small athlete here, so you wouldn't expect to get big measurements. And if you want to do, that's it, inferior septum. Okay. And that's roughly about the same size again. So if you're getting clear endocardial border definition, then you're going to get really easy measurements. If it drops out of the image, it becomes a little bit more complicated. Okay, who else wants to have a go? Who's next? Don't be shy. Oh, has that come off? Right, so I'm going to start you. We're going to go to the apical window. Okay. Now, one of the things I was saying to the other groups is that when you're doing the parasternal window, you've not really got much choice. You know where the sternum is, you know where the edge of it is, you know where the rib space is. You sort of can't go wrong. You know, if it's not there, okay, it's the next space up. When you go for the apical window, you've got much more chance to make an error because you've got a bigger area to work with. So you've got to do a little bit more work with the apical window. Now, but classically, you put the transducer on again. Okay, you're seeing something, that's fine, it's a heart. So you're roughly in the right area, but it's clearly not what you were expecting to see. You're expecting to see septum running straight down the middle, left ventricle over here, right ventricle over here. First thing you do, give yourself a little bit more depth. Okay? Second thing is, you've got to think about how you're attacking the heart. Now at the moment, you've got a two-chamber view. And that's because, if you look at the transducer is going flat in. So to get the four-chamber view, you've got to move the transducer around. Now, what you want, I would say, is that septum up and down the middle, and you want 4 chambers. So if you think about cutting an orange or a football in half, you've got to cut right through the middle. If you cut through the top, you get a little slice at the top and a big ball here. You've got to cut through the middle so you can see all 4 chambers. At the moment, we're getting ventricle, ventricle, and then it looks like we've got a wall here at the bottom of the ventricle rather than a valve. So there you go. First thing you do is tilt back, and then the second thing is, see it's going up here, so the apex is here. We want it here, and all that means is that it's actually round there. So you see, sometimes you've actually got to move all the way round here to get that apical view. So just tilt back a little bit, tilt back. Tilt, just keep the contact, but tilt back, you'll see the valves coming. There you go. We've not got a lot of gel down there, actually, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of a hand here. Okay. So there you go. So as soon as you see the valves, you know that you've got the full length of the ventricle. Okay, and it's at this point that you can put the colour on. Okay, move the colour area with the trackball so that it's over the mitral valve. So move it across. Move it across. That's it. Okay, so you're now getting the jets of blood movement into the left ventricle, and if you press PW for pulse wave, just above it, okay, there's your classic early atrial, early atrial, early atrial, early atrial, freeze. Okay? Now all you need to do with the caliper, okay, is move the trackball to the top of the E. Okay, move the trackball to the top of the E wave there. And you can see 0.84. Okay, and then you can move the trackball to the top of the A wave. Trackball to the top of the A wave, that's it. Okay, and that's 0.53. And that's going to give you an E to A ratio of around about 1.4, something like that. Standard index of diastolic function. Okay? Really quite straightforward, but that apical view is often quite difficult. Some people you have to go all the way round, almost under their armpit to get the orientation. If the heart's sitting like that, you've got to get round there. If the heart's sitting like that, you're out in the chest wall over here. Okay, time for one more person to have a go.
Just take the strain off everything, okay?
Come on, come and have a go.
Control.
Okay, so you can, whichever one you want to do, short axis or long axis or apical view, which one do you want to do?
ECG.
Apical, okay. Okay, so that's not a bad image. You can see the right left ventricle. Can you see the tendon across the right ventricle there? Now again, your septum's not quite. That's better. That's better. Now, if you wanted to, you could now put your colour over the tricuspid valve. That's it. And if you wanted to put your pulse wave into the tips of the tricuspid, a little messier. Try and move it a little bit out of the valve motion. Well, there is no next one. We're finished after this one. That's better. That's better. So you've got an early flow here. This is an atrial. Just sort of losing the atrial. That's better one there. That's early in atrial there. That's early. The big ones are early, and they occur early in the cardiac cycle, earlier in the diastolic period. Here's your P wave just here. That's your atrial activity there. Okay, let's try. Go back to your four-chamber view. Okay, and see if you can get the septum up the middle again. Yeah, you've got to go all the way out there. Let's see if we can do. Okay, so that's the colour. That's the colour overlay on the tissue, and now you put your pulse wave into the, move it across into the septum. Other way, other way. That's okay. Okay, and you can see the tissue velocity trace there, and we've just got a slightly bigger scale, a slightly smaller scale than we need. Okay, is it that one? Scale against this one.
Biggest.
Okay. Okay, twist again, just so that you've got all of, or just move the baseline up a little bit. The baseline is the one next door, so that's it. Perfect. So you've now got systole and diastole. You can freeze that. Okay, so you can measure peak systole here, early diastole there, atrial diastole there. Okay, they come down. Perfect. And those are perfectly normal values for S prime, E prime, and A prime. So one of the interesting things in terms of doing the tissue velocity data, obviously is the diagnostic value of that, but actually looking at what change you get when you move the sample volume up the septal wall. And the systolic tissue velocities will go down, because obviously the septum there has less distance to go. Don't forget the apex is anchored. So if the septum's got shorter distance to go, the velocity is going to be smaller. So you do get different velocities, tissue velocities, depending upon where you take the measurement from. Okay?
So mostly you just do the longitudinal.
Yeah, we never do any tissue velocity transverse assessment. It's just too variable.
I see.
And so it doesn't really, from our perspective, doesn't have the right sort of repeatability. If we're going to do transverse measurements, we'll stick to strain, to de-strain. Okay, what is it time to?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thanks guys. I think we're going to.
The main focus of today's workshop is to learn how to do a proper ECG acquisition, how to do a proper echocardiography acquisition, so that the physician, the cardiologist, can get reliable image for proper diagnosis of the abnormality of the athletes. How to interpret the result, what is normal for the athletes, what is abnormal for the athletes. We're going to discuss about, we'll talk about it early tomorrow morning in the symposium. We start early, about 9 o'clock. So be punctual, come earlier, because it's going to be a lot of people in the morning for registration. So 15-20 minutes before, come earlier, and we're going to start about 9 a.m. sharp tomorrow. Keith, David, and John is going to share their experience on this very important topic: how to interpret ECG, what is importantly the athlete heart issue, why does this athletes develop eccentric hypertrophy, how will it affect our interpretation in ECG and cardiography, will be very important, and we'll discuss it tomorrow. Thank you for coming, and your certificate will be available at the registration desk, and please pick it up before you go. Yeah, so see you again tomorrow.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.